And I'm back with more Saga of the Volsungs. When we last left off, Sigurd killed the dragon Fafnir and was instructed to cook its heart so that Regin could eat it. And when he cooked the dragon's heart, some of it got on his finger, and he sucked his finger, and he realized that he now understands the speech of birds. The birds told him, "Hey, this is a terrible idea, and Regin's gonna kill you. You should kill Regin." So he did. What's interesting is a similar thing happens in the story of, I believe it's Finn McCool in Irish mythology, where there's the trout of wisdom, or salmon of smarts, or something like that. And a similar thing happens where he's supposed to watch it for somebody else. Some of the grease burns his finger, he licks his finger, understands some more knowledge, and then he goes on and does other stuff. And it seems to be a thing with princes in general being able to learn how to talk to birds, because the prince in Cinderella spoke to birds as well. They're the ones who tipped him off to the stepsisters trying to take Cinderella's place in the original book. I should read Grimm's fairy tales. That'd be great. So anyway, he was told where the dragon Fafnir's treasure was, and began running off in that direction. Chapter 21. Concerning Sigurd. Sigurd now rode a long way, until he came up on Hinderfall. Then he turned south toward Frackland. Ahead of him, on the mountain, he saw a great light, as if a fire were burning and the brightness reached up to the heavens. And when he came up to it, there stood before him a rampart of shields with a banner above it. Sigurd went into the rampart, and he saw a man lying there asleep, dressed in full armor. First he removed the helmet from the man's head, and saw that it was a woman. She was in a coat of mail so tight it seemed to have grown into her flesh. He sliced through the armor, down from the neck opening and out through the sleeves, and it cut like cloth. Sigurd said she had slept too long. She asked what was so strong that it could slash through her coat of mail, and rouse me from sleep. Or is that Sigurd, son of Sigmund, has come, the one who has the helmet of Fafnir and carries Fafnir Bane in his hand? Sigurd replied, "He is of the line of Volsung who has done this work, and I have been told that you are the daughter of a powerful king, and I have also been told of your beauty and wisdom, and these I will put to the test." Brynhilda said that two kings had fought. One, called Hjalmargunr, was old and a great warrior, and Odin had promised him the victory. The other was Agnar, or Audabradir. I struck down Hjalmargunr in battle, and Odin stabbed me with a sleeping thorn in revenge. He said I should never afterward have the victory. He also said that I must marry, and I made a counter-vow that I would marry only one who knew no fear. Sigurd said, "Teach me the mighty ways of these things." She answered, "You know them better than I, but gladly I will teach you if there's anything I know that will please you about runes or other matters that concern all things. Let us drink together, and may the gods grant us a fair day, that you may gain profit and renown for my wisdom, and that you will later remember what we speak of." Brynhilda filled a goblet, gave it to Sigurd, and spoke. Now, I find it very interesting how many times this book is, "and then they drink." A lot of other fairy tales and stuff are like, yes, feasting happened. That's it. And here they're like, yes, much alcohol, also 3 pigs. Hopefully they weren't the 3 little pigs. Brunhild filled the goblet and gave it to Sigurd, and spoke. "Beer I give you, battlefield's ruler, with strength blended and with much glory. It is full of charmed verse, and runes of healing, of seemly spells and of pleasing speech. Victory runes shall you know, if you want to secure wisdom, and cut them on the sword hilt, on the center ridge of the blade, and the parts of the brand, and name tier twice. Wave runes you shall make if you desire to ward your sail steeds on the sound. On the stem they shall be cut, and on the steering blade, and burn them into the oar. No broad breaker will fall, nor waves of blue, and you will come safe from the sea. Speech runes you shall know, if you want no repayment in hate for words of harm done. Wind them, weave them, tie them together at that thing, and shall attend the complete court. There is a note here in my text that thing here specifically, it refers to the All Thing Assembly, where they would meet and discuss matters of law, not just like a thing, a literal thing. Ale runes shall you know, if you desire no other's wife to deceive you in troth, if you must. They shall be cut on the horn and on the hand's back, and the mark of the need rune on your nail. For the cup shall make a sign, and be wary of misfortune, and throw leek into liquor. Then, I know that, you will never get a potion blended with poison. Aid runes shall you learn, if you would grant assistance to bring the child from the mother. Cut them into her palm, and hold her hand in yours, and bid the deaser do not fail. Branch runes shall you know, if you wish to be a healer, and know how to see to wounds. On bark they shall be cut, and on needles of a tree whose limbs lean into the east. Mind runes you shall learn, and if you shall be wiser than all men. They were solved, they were carved out, they were heated by Hropt. There's a note there. Hropt is another name for Odin. They were cut on the shield that stands before the shining god, on Arvak's ear and on Aesilid's head, and on the wheel that stands under Hrungnir's chariot, on Sleipnir's reins, and on the sleigh's fetters. On bear's paws and on Bragi's tongue, on wolf's claws and on eagle's beak, on bloody wings and on bridges' ends, on soothing palm and on the healing step. On glass and on gold and on good silver, in ale and in wine and on the witch's seat, in human flesh and in the Gopnir, and the hag's breast and the Norn's nail and the neb of the owl. All that were carved on these were scraped off and mixed with the holy mead, and sent on widespread ways. There with elves, some with the Aesir, some with the venerable Vanir, some belong to mortal men. These are cure runes, and aid runes, and all ale runes, and peerless power runes, for all use unspoiled and unprofaned, to bring about good fortune. Enjoy them if you have learned them, until the gods perish. Now shall you choose, as you are offered a choice, O maple shaft of sharp weapons, speech or silence. You must muse for yourself, for all words are already decided. Sigurd answered, I will not flee, though death-fated you know I am. I was not conceived as a coward. I will have all of your loving advice, as long as I live. 22. Brynhild's wise counsel. Sigurd said, Never can there be found more wiser a woman in the world than you. Give me more wise counsel. Brynhild answered, It is right to do your bidding and to give you good advice, because you seek it wisely. Then she said, Do well by your kinsmen, and take little revenge for their wrongdoings. Endure with patience, and you will win long-lasting praise. Beware of ill dealings, both of a maid's love and a man's wife. Ill often arises from these. Yeah, no kidding. Stay true to your wife, pal. Control your temper with foolish men at crowded gatherings, for they frequently speak worse than they know. When you are called a coward, people may think you are rightfully named so. Kill the man another day, rewarding him for his malicious words. If you travel by road where evil creatures dwell, be wary. Although caught by nightfall, do not take shelter near the road, for foul beings who bewilder men often live there. Even if you see beautiful women at a feast, do not let them entice you so that they interfere with your sleep or distress your mind. Do not allure them with kisses and other tenderness. And if you hear foolish words from drunken men, do not dispute with those who are drunk on wine and have lost their wits. Too many men, such things bring much grief and even death. It is better to fight with your enemies than be burned at home. And do not swear a false oath, because hard vengeance follows breaking a truce. Do the right thing by dead men, be they dead from disease, by drowning, or by a weapon. Prepare their bodies with care. And do not trust any man, even though he is young, whose father or brother or close kinsman has been killed by you. Often a wolf lies in a young son. Beware the wiles of friends. I see only a little of your future life, yet it would be better if you Yet it would be better if the hate of your in-laws did not descend upon you. Sigurd said, "No one is wiser than you, and I swear I shall marry you, for you are to my liking." She replied, "I most prefer to marry you, even if I would choose among all men." And this they pledged with vows between them. 23. Concerning Sigurd's appearance. Now Sigurd rode away. He didn't run away. Now Sigurd rode away. His ornamented shield was plated with red gold and emblazoned with a dragon. His top half was dark brown and its bottom half light red. And his helmet, saddle, and buff coat were marked in this way. He wore a mail coat of gold, and all his weapons were ornamented with gold. In this way the dragon was illustrated on all his arms, so that when he was seen, all who had heard the story would recognize him as the one who had killed the great dragon called Fafnir by the Volsungs. And there is a note there on Volsungs. Volsungs or Varangians were Scandinavian traders in Russia. The name also denotes Northmen serving in the bodyguard of the Byzantine Emperor. Hence, the term might simply denote Scandinavian. I actually would like to know what they mean by red gold, if they mean copper. No, it seems to literally mean red gold. Ah. That's the flour. That's the ketchup. Yeah, here we go. Gold alloy with copper. Interesting. So he has a copper-lined shield and stuff. All Sigurd's weapons were ornamented with gold, and were brown in color since he far surpassed other men in courtesy, in noble bearing, and in most other things. When all the mightiest champions and the most famous chieftains were reckoned, he will always be counted the foremost. His name is known in all tongues north of the Greek Ocean, and so must remain while the world endures. Sigurd's hair was brown and splendid to see. It fell in long locks. His beard, of the same color, was thick and short. His nose was high, and he had a broad, chiseled face. His eyes flashed so piercingly that few dared look beneath his brow. His shoulders were as broad as one who looked like looking at two men. His body was well proportioned in height, and his size in all respects most becoming. Wow, I can't read right now. It is a mark of his great height that when he girded himself with the sword Graham, which was 7 spans long, and waded through a field of full-grown rye, the tip of the sword sheath grazed the top of the standing grain, and his strength exceeded his stature. Let's look how long a span is. How long is a span? 9 inches. So the sword is 63 inches long. Or about 5 1/4 feet long. Or about 1.5 meters long. So supposedly he is super tall. He knew well how to handle a sword, hurl a spear, cast a javelin, hold a shield, bend a bow, and ride a horse. Sigurd also had learned many courtesies in his youth. He was a wise man, knowing events before they happened, and he understood the language of birds. Because of these abilities, little took him by surprise. He could speak at length and with Okay, I think we're all back together. I think it's fixed. I just had some streaming issues, and I think I just resolved them, but I can't quite exactly tell. So I'll just chatter for a minute here. So, according to Wikipedia, red gold is rose red and red pink gold. Rose gold is a gold copper alloy, also known as pink gold and red gold, popular in Russia, which is where some of the stuff happens, at the beginning of the 19th century, also known as Russian gold, although this term is now obsolete. Okay, this is way before then. Rose gold jewelry is becoming more popular in the 21st century, and is commonly used for wedding rings, bracelets, and other jewelry. During ancient times, due to impurities in the smelting process, gold frequently turned a reddish color. That's why many wow, reading, why is it so hard right now? That is why many Greco-Roman texts, and even many texts from the Middle Ages, describe gold as red. Alright, fantastic. So now we know that it's a gold-copper alloy, probably, or just impure gold. So we just went over Sigurd's appearance, his arms and armaments, and his complete lack of fear, which might be why his wife having common sense is a really big deal. Chapter 24. Sigurd comes to Heimer. Sigurd now rode until he came to a large estate. A great chieftain named Heimer ruled it. He was married to the sister of Brynhilda, called Brynhilda, because she had stayed at home and learned needlework and other feminine skills. But Brynhilda took up helmet and coat of arms and went to battle. Thus she was called Brynhilda. Heimer and Brynhilda had a son named Oswald, the most courteous of men. Outside, men were playing at their sports, but when they saw the man riding up to the dwellings, they called a halt to their game and marveled at him, for they had never seen his like. And they went to meet him and received him well. Oswald asked Sigurd to stay and receive from him whatever he wished. Sigurd accepted his offer. Preparations were made to serve him nobly. 4 men lifted the gold from his horse, and a 5th took care of him. There were many rare and precious treasures to be seen. The men thought it great entertainment to look at the mail coats, helmets, huge rings, marvelously large gold cups, and all kinds of weapons. Sigurd remained here for a long time in great honor. The news of his magnificent deed, that he had killed the terrible dragon, had now spread throughout all lands. The men enjoyed themselves well, and were loyal to each other. And to amuse themselves, they prepared their weapons, making arrow shafts and hunting with their hawks. 25. The conversation between Sigurd and Brynhilda. Now Brynhilda, Heimer's foster daughter, had come home. She stayed in the bower with her maidens. More skilled in handicraft than other women, she embroidered her tapestry with gold, and in it stitched the stories of the noble deeds that Sigurd had wrought. The slaying of the serpent, the seizing of the gold, and the death of Regan. It is said that one day Sigurd rode into the woods with his hounds and hawks and many followers. When he returned home, his hawk flew into a high tower and settled by a window. Sigurd went after the hawk. Then he saw a fair woman, and realized it was Brynhilda. Both her beauty and her work affected him deeply. He went to the hall, but did not want to join in the sport of the other men. Then Oswald said, "Why are you so quiet? This change in your concerns us, your friends. Why can you not be merry? Your hawks are moping, as is your horse Granny, and it'll be a long time before this is amended." Sigurd answered, "Good friend, listen to what is on my mind. My hawk flew into a tower, and when I captured him, I saw a beautiful woman. She sat at a golden tapestry and embroidered there my past deeds." Oswald replied, "You have seen Brynhilda, the daughter of Budli, a woman of most noble bearing." Sigurd answered, "That must certainly be so. When did she get here?" Oswald said, "It's only a short while between your arrivals." Sigurd said, "This I learned just a few days ago. This woman seemed to be the best in the world." Alsveld spoke. Such a man such as you should not pay attention to a woman. It is bad to pine for what one cannot be obtained. I shall meet her, said Sigurd. I shall give her gold and gain mutual affection and love. Alsvid said, there is yet a man that she allows to sit by her, or whom she gives ale to drink. She wants to go warring and win all kinds of fame. Sigurd said, I do not know whether she will answer me or not, but whether she will let me sit by her. The next day, Sigurd went to her chamber. Alsvid stood outside by the room, making arrow shafts. Sigurd said, be greeted, lady, and how do you fare? She replied, I am faring well. My kin and friends are alive, but it is unknown what fortunate men will have to their dying day. He sat down next to her. Then 4 women entered bearing large gold goblets and the best of wine, and stood there before him. Brynhilda said, that seat is granted to few, except when my father comes. Sigurd replied, now it is granted to whoever pleases me. The room was hung with the most precious tapestries, and cloth covered the floor. Sigurd said, now what has happened you promised me. She answered, you will be welcomed here. Then she rose up, and the 4 maidens with her. She brought him a gold cup and invited him to drink. He reached towards the cup, but took her hand, drawing her down beside him. He put his arms around her neck and kissed her, saying, no fairer woman than you has ever been born. Brynhilda said, it is wiser counsel not to put your trust in a woman, because women always break their promises. Wow! This is aged well. Sigurd said, the best day for us would be when we can enjoy each other. Brynhilda said, it is not fated that we should live together, for I am a shield maiden. I wear a helmet and ride with the warrior kings. I must support them, and I am not averse to fighting. Sigurd answered, our lives will be most fruitful if spent together. If we do not live together, the grief will be harder to endure than a sharp weapon. Brynhilda replied, I must review the troops of warriors, and you will marry Gudrun, the daughter of Yuki. Sigurd answered, no king's daughter shall entice me. I'm not 2 minds on this, and I swear by the gods that I will marry you or no other woman. She spoke likewise. Sigurd thanked her for her words and gave her a gold ring. They swore their oaths anew. He went away to his men and was with them for a time, prospering greatly. Alright, I'm a little confused because I thought the whole thing was like he met her when she was on the fire pyre thing in the sky with the shields, and she was wearing armor that made her look like a dude even though it was skin tight. But now they met in this tower. I'm trying to see if there's a note that like says, oh no, it's a different Brynhilda. But okay, hang on. Wait. Note 83. Okay, Bryn from Brynja means male coat. That's a nice note there. Beckhild, Hild, battle, is a common element in women's names in Old Norse. The element Beck literally means bench. That's great. So Beckhild is bench battle, and Brynhild is armor battle. Fantastic. Is there any more notes? Nope. It's just confusing. Cool. Alright, well, we're at page 75 of 111, so. Chapter 26, Concerning King Yuki and his sons. There was a king named Yuki, whose kingdom was south of the Rhine. He had 3 sons whose names were Gunmar, Hogni, and Guttorm. Gudrun, a daughter, was the most famous of maidens. They surpassed the children of other kings in both looks and in stature, and in their accomplishments. They were always harrying and performing many great feats. Yuki was married to Grimhild, a woman well versed in magic. There was a king named Budli. He was more powerful than Yuki, although both of them were very powerful. Atli was the name of Brynhild's brother. He was a grim man, large and dark. Stream. Okay, hopefully, nope.